What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. It is Saturday evening, and I want to go ahead and do the pregame show for the game tomorrow, which we will take on the Carolina Panthers in the rematch. We did beat them a few weeks ago in Carolina, and this game will be in Atlanta. So hopefully the team comes out with that spark. Hopefully the crowd comes out to cheer on our Atlanta Falcons. We haven't won but only one home game this year, which was against the Eagles early in the season on Sunday Night Football. So hopefully we can pull this one out in front of the Atlanta fans this week and give the fans something to cheer about. But first things first, I do want to apologize to all of my subscribers and the ones that's watched my videos. I had a rough week. My wife was actually in the hospital. She had to have surgery, so emergency surgery. So I do apologize that I wasn't able to put out a video early in this week, but I will have some videos coming out this week coming up for you guys. But let's get right into the pregame show, our keys to victory, and also just get into the pregame show for the Carolina Panthers game. So tomorrow, 1 p.m., we will be taking on the Carolina Panthers in Atlanta, like I stated. First, let's break down Carolina. Basically, Carolina, everything starts with Christian McCaffrey, their running back, Run CMC. He is the man. He's he's the number one player on our board when it comes to the defense and stopping or shutting down a player. He is the player that we're going to have to contain. It's pretty much hard to stop him from doing anything because they throw the ball to him. He runs the ball. They pretty much do everything. He's pretty much their total offense for the Carolina Panthers. And early in the season, Christian McCaffrey was an MVP candidate. I don't think he's an MVP candidate anymore, and that's just because his team doesn't have a winning record. So it kind of sucks for him because he has been playing excellent football this year. He is an excellent running back and an excellent pass catcher. So I do feel for him a little bit because he does deserve to be in the MVP category, even though his team is struggling. But our public enemy number one is Christian McCaffrey. Everything starts and ends with him. He is their engine. As you know, Cam Newton is injured and has been injured for most of the season with the Liz Frank injury. I believe they say he's having surgery or he's already had surgery on his foot. So for Cam, get well soon. I don't like injuries. I hate injuries, as I state in pretty much all of my videos, even if it's on the opposing team. At quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, they have Kyle Allen, the undrafted quarterback. He's played pretty well this season against the Atlanta Falcons early in the season, about 2 to 3 weeks ago when we played him. I think that was his worst game of the season. He threw like 3 picks or something like that and had like another 2 fumbles or something like that. And we sacked him a bunch of times. I think he was sacked like 4 times in that game in Carolina. So our defense really created havoc for him. I think things are still moving really fast for him. As you know, when you're a young quarterback coming into the league, it takes time for you to get used to the game speed of the NFL. And with Kyle Allen, I think he's like a below average quarterback in this league at this point. So we really don't have to be too concerned. At this point, they are playing with house money, and we're playing with house money because neither one of us probably will be in the playoffs. So at this point, the Falcons are playing spoiler, and so is the Carolina Panthers at this point. The Saints have kind of ran away with the division at this point. They already have won the division, which they won the division on our home field last Sunday, which was horrible. But to stay on track, like I said, Kyle Allen is, we don't want to underestimate him, but he's just a below average quarterback at this point. And if you can get pressure on him, he does get rattled fairly easily. He is a little bit mobile where he can try to roll out the pocket and try to make plays passing the ball, not really as a runner. He likes to roll to his right to look down the field to throw the ball. He's not that great of a running quarterback. But other players we may want to look at in this game that could be an impact player for their team is DJ Moore, the wide receiver out of Maryland. They drafted him, I believe, 2 years ago at this point. And he's almost at 1,000 yards receiving. He's at like 900 and some yards receiving. He's like a slot guy. They really, to me, don't have an outside receiver because they have two guys that really are like slot guys or gadget guys. They have him and Curtis Samuel. Both of those guys can really fly and have speed down the field, but they mainly run a lot of crossing patterns. Now, Greg Olsen is another story. Greg Olsen is a great tight end. He's been on that team for years, and he's been a leader for that Carolina team for years. And he may end up in the Hall of Fame because Greg Olsen has had a great career. He's always been able to run. He has great hands, and he's a veteran. He's very savvy. He knows how to run routes, and he knows what defense you're in. He's a veteran. He's just a veteran guy. He's been around a very long time. So we definitely have to also look out for Greg Olsen in this game. They probably will match up Devondre Campbell on Greg Olsen, and then they probably will have Deion Jones shadowing Christian McCaffrey the whole game. So those are two guys that you definitely want to look out for. Greg Olsen, Christian McCaffrey, those are like the top two targets for Kyle Allen, and then it will be DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. Like I said, DJ Moore is a fairly good player. Both him and Curtis Samuel are fast players. They mainly run a lot of crossing patterns in Carolina. They really don't throw a lot of deep passes down the field. I don't know if that's because Kyle Allen is in there and they're trying to manage games, but pretty much that's what Kyle Allen was doing. And that's what kind of threw me off early in the season with Carolina. I wasn't too sure like how they started off so hot in the beginning of the season when Kyle Allen took over. They won like 3 or 4 games in a row. One was against the Texans. I was really shocked in some of the games they won early in this season because if you shut down Christian McCaffrey, that's pretty much the end all be all for the Carolina offense. If you force them to throw the ball, force Kyle Allen to throw the ball 30 plus times in a game, 9 times out of 10 you're going to end up winning that game because he's not at the point in his career where he can go out and win a game if the running game gets shut down. So I don't know what early on in the season what the other opposing teams were doing as far as trying to shut down Carolina. To me, it should have been fairly easy game plan against Carolina because they don't have a ton of weapons. Christian McCaffrey is the main weapon that they use, and to me, they're kind of running Christian McCaffrey in the ground. He's the only guy they really use at running back, and they use him in all facets. If you remember the first game when we played them, they gave the ball to Christian McCaffrey. He probably had like 25 touches with a mixture of running and catching, and he was getting abused. We were bringing several hats to the ball. He didn't get in the end zone against us. We shut them down. They didn't even score a touchdown the first time we played them. So I don't know with the whole Kyle Allen thing and other teams game planning for Carolina, if it was just they weren't experienced and they didn't really know a lot about Kyle Allen. They didn't have any tape on him. But this is a defensive coordinator. It should be fairly easy coming in with a game plan against Carolina. The number one thing is just stopping Christian McCaffrey. If you focus your whole game plan around shutting down Christian McCaffrey, 9 times out of 10, you're going to come out with a win. So that's pretty much all I have on Carolina. Their offense is not all that great. To be honest, they play a very vanilla offense. North Turner was their offensive coordinator, which he's been around the league for a very long time. He was with the Dallas Cowboys back in the day when they were winning Super Bowls with Troy Aikman. And he's been around the league for a very long time. He's also been a head coach in this league. I believe he coached the San Diego Chargers and a couple other teams in this league. And as you know, I forgot to mention this at the top. Their head coach was actually fired. Ron Rivera, who was an excellent coach, he actually was fired this week. And I've seen a lot of different Carolina fans and stuff like that kind of disappointed about it. Some of them were happy about it. Personally, I think that he's a better coach than he gets credit for. He did lead them to a 15-1 season, 2015, I believe it was, when they went to the Super Bowl and they took on the Denver Broncos. They did lose that Super Bowl, but Ron Rivera is a well-respected head coach, and he's a defensive-minded coach, and Carolina has always had a good defense since Ron Rivera was there. Their defense has always been solid. I don't care what players he's had. He's always had great scheme on his defense and has done a great job with coaching that team and coaching up the defense. He's never really been an offensive mind, and he's never really like developed. He really struggled in developing players, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But I put that more on the offensive coordinators that they've had in Carolina, because he's a defensive minded coach, and they brought him in to basically be a defensive minded coach and coach the defense, not the offense. The offense mainly, I blame that on the offensive coordinator, as far as not developing those players that they have, that they've had through the years. Also with Ron Rivera, he did win a Super Bowl. He was part of the '85 Bears. He was a linebacker when he played in the NFL. So he has not only knowledge just from coaching, but he also has playing knowledge, because he was a successful player in the league for about a decade. I think he played like 11 years in the NFL. So he was a solid player, and he's a solid coach. So shout out to Ron Rivera, as they call him, Riverboat Ron, because he liked to gamble and things and go for fourth downs and stuff like that. He was a very aggressive coach. So shout out to him. I have nothing but respect for him, and I wish him the best on finding an employment. He did say that he is interested in still coaching on this level, in the NFL level. So shout out to him. Like I said, he's an excellent coach. And from what I've heard, because I'm not a Carolina Panthers fan, of course, I'm just an Atlanta Falcons fan. But from what I've heard through the media and through the media, and heard from the players, the Carolina players, either former players or players that are still playing with Carolina, they say that he was an excellent family man. He always had his wife and his daughter around the team and stuff like that. So shout out to him, that not only was he a great coach, but he was a great man and a great example to his players on how you should treat your family, how you should treat your wife and your children. And he's not only was worried about his players being excellent players and developing as players, but he was also helping to develop young men to be able to be good citizens off the field. So shout out to Ron Rivera, man. But enough with that. Let's jump right over to the Atlanta Falcons and our keys to victory in this game. So the first key to victory, as always, for our Atlanta Falcons in this game will be get out to a fast start. If we can get out to a 7-0, we can get the ball, get out to a 7 to 14 point lead, and then just keep running up the score, and then put pressure on Carolina to keep up with us, because Carolina is not a team that puts up a ton of points. Like I said, they like to run the ball methodically, move the ball down the field. So if we can come out here and have big plays on offense and jump out to a big lead, I really think that Carolina's going to struggle to stay in this game. Good news for the Atlanta Falcons. We're getting back Chris Lindstrom, our first round pick at guard. Praise God, because we have really struggled on the O-line with our guard play against the New Orleans Saints last week. We played terrible. All five guys played terrible on the line, but hopefully we're getting Chris Lindstrom back for this last quarter of the season. He can show us what he has for next season, because to be fair, we haven't had a healthy offensive line all season. We did draft Chris Lindstrom and Caleb McGarry. Caleb McGarry has had an excellent season for a rookie. He's had his bumps and his bruises. He's taken his lumps. He's played against stiff competition, Cam Jordan, J.J. Watt. He's played against the best this year, man. Aaron Donald, Dante Fowler, the best of the best. He's faced the best of the best this year when it comes to edge rushers, and it's not going to get any easier heading down the stretch. But he's done, to me, an excellent job so far as a rookie. I expected him to take his lumps, him and Chris Lindstrom. But playing the tackle position is one of the hardest positions to play, especially on the O-line, because you basically have no help when you're playing the left or right tackle position. He's a right tackle. So to me, he's played pretty well. He's had his ups and his downs, which it comes with the territory of him gaining experience. So hopefully Chris Lindstrom, as he comes back, he can come in and help solidify this offensive line. And hopefully we can protect Matt Ryan in this game. But like I said, if we can get off to a fast start, we expect Julio Jones to be back in this game, and also Austin Hooper to be back. And Austin Hooper, a lot of people don't realize, but Austin Hooper is one of the X factors for this Falcons team. Early in the season, he was leading the team in receptions and leading the team in receiving yards, because everybody was double teaming Julio Jones as always. And Hooper was excellent in catching passes over the middle, catching screen passes, blocking. Hooper is just an excellent player. So at the end of this season, I do expect us to re-sign Austin Hooper. You got to bring him back because he's a top 5 tight end in the game right now, maybe top 3. So we definitely got to respect Austin Hooper. I love what he brings to the table with stretching the field, and with the catches over the middle, his agility. He loves to hurdle players and things of that nature when he catches passes. But he's definitely a security blanket, and he's definitely a big target in the red zone for Matt Ryan. And he's big on third down, especially since we lost Mohamed Sanu, who used to catch a lot of third down conversions over the middle of the field. So I'm going to be happy to see number 81 back on the field. He's one of my favorite Falcon players because he just goes out there, dominates, and does his job. He doesn't talk whole lot, but he just goes, brings his hard hat to work, and he goes to work pretty much every Sunday. So glad to have Austin Hooper back. Glad to have Julio Jones back and all of our weapons back. Chris Lindstrom. So we should have pretty much the full offense back. Devontae Freeman came back last week. So we should be back to 100%. It took pretty much all season to get us back to 100%. But now on offense, it looks like we're going to be 100% healthy. So hopefully we can go out there and we should demolish the Panthers. I don't expect this game to be close. This should be a blowout. With that being said, the first key to victory, like I said, start off fast with all of our weapons being back. I don't see a reason why this game should be close. Number 2 key to victory will be shutting down Christian McCaffrey, bring multiple hats to the ball when he catches the ball in space, because the Panthers do a good job of creating space for him by sending guys on vertical routes and leaving the linebacker one-on-one with Christian McCaffrey. As you know, Deion Jones is an excellent linebacker, probably the best coverage linebacker in the NFL. He doesn't get the due credit that he deserves, but Debo is a special linebacker, very fast. I think he runs like a 4.3 or 4.4, 40. So Deion Jones is one of the fastest and one of the most athletic middle linebackers in the game, and that's why he did get paid in the offseason, because he did deserve the big bucks that he was paid. He's one of the captains of this defense, and he's one of the best linebackers in the game right now. So I expect him to be on this game and shutting down Christian McCaffrey. And that's the second key to victory. For our third key to victory, it'll be getting pressure on Kyle Allen, collapse the pocket. Grady Jarrett has been dominating all season long. He's one of my favorite as well. Probably my favorite, one of my favorite defensive players. Definitely my favorite defensive line player on this team. Grady Jarrett, he's like the engine of this defense. It usually starts and ends with Grady Jarrett. He's very physical, very quick with his swim move, very quick in getting into the backfield. And he can not only use his speed, but also use his strength. Grady Jarrett, last week against the Saints, I saw some tape of him breaking through the line. They had a double team on him on a key third down conversion. It was like 3rd and 2. And Grady Jarrett stopped Kamara in the hole with 2 guys all over him trying to block him. He basically split the double team and went and attacked in the backfield and penetrated and stopped Kamara for no yards, no gain, which put them on a 4th down. So Grady Jarrett is just an inspiring player. Even though it's been a bad season and we've lost a ton of games, Grady Jarrett hasn't slowed down. He's just been dominating in the trenches. So we definitely did the right thing for paying him. And even though I don't like some of the moves Thomas Dimitroff made, the players that he paid in the offseason were the right players to pay. Grady Jarrett, Deion Jones, they're stud players and A-plus players in their position. So they definitely deserve every bit of the money they got. To me, Grady Jarrett is the best defensive tackle behind Aaron Donald. To me, it's Aaron Donald and then 2, Grady Jarrett. To me, Grady Jarrett is right up there with Aaron Donald as far as the pressure he creates, as far as him being a pass rusher from that nose tackle spot, very quick, and gets a ton of tackles for loss. He get a lot of tackles where he tackling guys in the backfield for a loss in those games. So big ups to Grady Jarrett on earning that contract, not slowing down, and not being complacent with, not being complacent with getting the money that he got, the big dollars that he got. Another thing that I want to give Grady Jarrett a quick shout out for, we must get Grady Jarrett to the Pro Bowl this year. So if you guys haven't voted, I don't know if the vote started already, but we must vote for Grady Jarrett to get into the Pro Bowl. It's a shame that he hasn't been in the Pro Bowl yet so far in his career, because he's definitely deserving. And this year, I'm definitely going to put in a lot of votes for him to get into the Pro Bowl. He's definitely an All-Pro player and a Pro Bowl defensive tackle, so we must get him in there. So all the Falcons fans, just want to put a quick plugger in there for Grady Jarrett. Definitely go ahead and vote. When you vote for the Pro Bowl, don't forget to vote your boy Grady Jarrett in. He's definitely deserving this year, and has been deserving probably last year as well in the last couple seasons. But let's get right back to our keys to victory. So like I said, get pressure on Kyle Allen, pressure him, collapse the pocket, bring pressure from all over. Tat McKinley, Vic Beasley, Jack Crawford, all of those guys, Alan Bailey. Let's all get in on it like we did in Carolina. All those guys got in on the sacks and the pressures. So let's just heat him up this week. If you get pressure in his face, he will throw the ball to us, throw a couple interceptions, because he gets very rattled when he's seeing pressure from everywhere. So definitely bring pressure. If I was I almost said Marquand Manuel, not Marquand Manuel. If I was Jeff Ulbrich, and if I was Raheem Morris, I would bring blitzes like they did last time they played them. I would drop players in the covers like they were dropping linemen last time over the middle of the field, like dropping Jack Crawford. I would do all of those things in this game as well, because Kyle Allen, like I said, he doesn't have a ton of experience, meaning he doesn't really know how to read defenses too well, because he's still just a young quarterback. So if you can do stuff to confuse him, I would do that in this game. And for the last key to victory, which will be my fourth key to victory, will just be special teams. And the reason I say special teams, last time we played them, we did have a kickoff return for a touchdown by Kenjon Barner. It was an excellent return by him. He's been great for us this year, so I definitely think if he's not locked up for next season, I think we should bring Kenjon Barner back. He's done some things on the offensive side of the ball with catching screens and running the ball a little bit and running the Wildcat. He did a great job at taking back a punt. And I couldn't remember the last time the Falcons returned a punt or a kickoff return for a touchdown. So he did a great job this year of returning kicks for us. And I don't think he's slowing down no time soon. So I definitely would keep him around, especially if he's willing to stay around for minimum dollars. Like if he's asking for big money, we might have to let him go, because we can't afford to pay him big dollars with our salary cap being the way it is. But I definitely would bring him back if we can keep him around for a veteran's minimum, or we can bring him back for a smaller dollar amount. I definitely would look at keeping Kenjon Barner around. He's proven himself to be a great player in the special team side of it. And also I bring up special teams because last week against the Saints, we had a punt block. So we can't be having any punt blocks in this game. The backup, Ryan Allen, I believe his name is, that we had punting for us, he's done a great job of dropping punts in the 10 to 5 yard line range when he's punting balls, pinning the other team deep toward our end zone. He's done a great job of doing that this year. I believe they said Matt Bosher was going to come back, but he got hurt in practice and pulled his groin again, which is terrible. So he's going to be out probably the remainder of the season, and they brought Ryan Allen back. And Ryan Allen has done a solid job. We just need guys to be paying attention on special teams, be ready to block, don't allow anybody to shoot any gaps, because you see they did try to make a statement, I believe, the Atlanta Falcons coaches, with Jermaine Grace. In the Saints game, he did miss a key block on that first punt, the first punt of the game last week against Taysom Hill. And Taysom Hill did block the punt, and right after that, the next week, Jermaine Grace was cut. So I don't like to see anybody lose their job, but I mean, if you're not doing your job, he had one job to do, and it was to block Taysom Hill. He let Taysom Hill go, and he's a linebacker, so it's no excuse for a quarterback to be blocking punts. So, the Falcons, I think, were trying to make a statement to show if you don't do your job, they will cut you. So I do understand why they let him go, because you definitely have to be on your P's and Q's when it comes to punt returns, punt blocks, and that was definitely a momentum shaker or a momentum shifter for the Saints to get that first touchdown when Taysom Hill started the game off with getting that punt block. So hopefully we don't have any punt blocks or any kicks, field goals blocked or anything in this game. Also, just want to bring up Younghoe Koo. Younghoe Koo did miss, I think it was 2 field goals the last game. He missed 1 field goal and 1 PAT. But I did see he regained his confidence. He did hit that 45-yard field goal after that point. And then he was money from after that. And he had 2 excellent onside kicks where we did recovered 3 onside kicks, but they took 1 back. But we had 3 excellent onside kicks by Younghoe Koo, and it looks like he's going to be the kicker of the future. I don't see any reason, unless he starts to miss over these last 4 games, unless he starts to miss, and starts to be erratic where he's missing all type of field goals. I believe that he will be the kicker next year, and he's a very cheap commodity for us. Now, if he starts missing a lot of kicks or something like that down the stretch, then we may look at bringing in a kicker maybe in the draft. Maybe they got the kid Blankenship from Georgia. He's been an excellent kicker. Or maybe Carlson from Auburn. I don't know if Carlson's a senior yet or if he's coming out, but I know Blankenship is probably coming out this year. So if Younghoe Koo doesn't get his act together, then we always can, make a shift. But to me, he's been pretty good for us. So I would stick with Younghoe Koo at this point until he shows me otherwise. And with that being said, that's pretty much it. That's all I have for you guys. Like I said, I expect us to win this game on Sunday. I do expect it to be a big win for us. It should be a blowout. There's no reason why we should allow the Carolina Panthers to stick around. It is one of our division games, and they're one of our rivals. But I don't think that the Carolina Panthers are going to come in with that type of heart to be able to upset us, especially with changing coaches. They did hire, I think Perry Fuel is his name, who he was already on their staff, and they promoted him to the head coach. And I am kind of happy to see the African American get an opportunity to be a head coach for Carolina and to fill in. Even though I like Ron Rivera and thought he was a solid coach, I think Perry Fuel deserved the opportunity, being that they let him go. So I think he's going to try to capitalize on his opportunity. I just don't see the Carolina Panthers beating us. Like I said, I don't see that with all of our weapons coming back. I think our offense is going to be too high-powered. The only chance that Carolina has really of beating us in this game is if their defensive line, goes crazy and gets a bunch of sacks or something like that, like the Saints did. But I expect our offensive line to be played much better in this game with Chris Lindstrom back. And hopefully Jamon Brown or whoever's playing that other guard spot can get it together and, do a good job or do at least a decent job of blocking. But I expect us to run the ball more in this game, hopefully. And let's use the 3-headed monster. Let's use Devontae Freeman. Let's use Brian Hill. And let's use Quadra Olson. I would use all 3 of those guys. At this point, Freeman has shown that he's kind of lost a step. So I definitely would give all 3 of those guys. I would be using all of them. I wouldn't just be using Freeman. I don't know what it is with Dirk Cutter, but when Freeman comes back, when he came back from injury, even before he got injured, to me, we use Freeman a little bit too much as far as the running game. I feel like we need to mix it up. Freeman is a good back, and he was a great back at one point. At this point, he's just playing as a good back. But I think he's a good running back at this point. But I still would mix it up to keep him fresh. And since Freeman continues to have injuries, I would mix it up. I would give all 3 of those guys a chance to tote the rock. And I would run the ball right at these guys. Don't allow that defense to pin their ears back. The defense of Carolina, don't allow them to pin their ears back and come after Matt Ryan. I would run that ball straight at those guys. I'll run the ball right up the gut, and I'll run the ball around the edges with some tosses, because Brian Hill and Freeman have good vision when they get on the outside. And then when I'm pounding the inside, I'll go ahead and use Quadra Olson to pound the ball on the inside and pound the ball on the goal line, like in goal line situations and short yardage downs. And also quick shout out to our fullback, Keith Smith. They've been using a little fullback dive. We've been going back to the 90s and pull some plays out of the 90s playbook. And we've had a couple of fullback dives, like on 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s and stuff like that. I've liked what I've seen out of Keith Smith. I would keep him around as well. He's another great fullback that loves contact, and he does an excellent job of blocking for our running backs. So shout out to Keith Smith. But with that being said, this been your boy Jew. If you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and hit that like button for your boy. Definitely hit the subscribe button if you haven't hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you'll know when I'm doing a video. Like I said, man, I love all you guys. I appreciate all of my Atlanta Falcons subscribers and all the Atlanta Falcons fans out there, all of the YouTubers and content creators out there, man. Shout out to you guys. Y'all keep doing your thing. Like I said, I'm always going to bring y'all the best Atlanta Falcons content there is. But shout out to all you guys, man. As always, rise up Falcons Nation. I'll holla at y'all in the next video. I'll probably have a video for y'all, if not on tomorrow after the game, depending on what I feel like doing tomorrow. I definitely have a video for y'all on Monday to talk about the post-game show for the Carolina Panthers game and to probably talk about what we saw through the game. But I am excited about the game. I'm excited to see, now that we're back to 100%, what we can do. But this been your boy Jew. I'll holla at y'all in the next video. As always, rise up Falcon Station. Peace.